Thanks, Jeffrey. You make me feel like I'm about 4,000 years old when you start thinking about like six out much.
You're wearing very well, though. It's good to have you here this morning. As you know, we have the Fiction to Function mini conference coming up in December, the 8th of December. We're wanting to take a look at what's changed over the last 10 to 20 years. So with that, what I'd like to do is just first let you tell us how you see your background in the profession and what's your journey been into getting to having done all those things. Far away.
Thanks, Jeffrey. And listen, can I firstly say this is going to be an amazing conference. After witnessing what's happening in the world, what I've seen and how you bring people together and not to tell but to share the information you have and the experience you have, this is going to be an absolute cracker of a day, because what you're doing now is you're not offering something that isn't practical. Everything that you're going to bring to the table on this particular day is going to be something that people can walk away with. So I'm really, really excited to be there, because having like minds, not on stage, but in the crowd, I think is one of the most powerful, energetic experiences anyone can get. So let me just thank you for that opportunity first, Jeff.
Oh, my pleasure. It's great to have you coming, honestly.
Jeffrey, my journey's probably been a little bit different than most. My family has a background in horses, so from a very young age, as funny as that sounds, we were really always dealing with the problems of horses, whether it be injury, whether it be turned out feet, whether it be something that they weren't doing well. So my understanding of the body basically come from horses. Movement, rhythm, timing, learning how to observe all these signs that horses gave us. What was their coat like? What was their eye like? What was their temperament like? What was their attitude like? They are all really important components that little did I know were going to play a major role in my life down the track. I then moved out of the horse industry with my parents and brothers, and then Dad said, "Okay, I want you to get a real job." So I finished up becoming a plumber, having an apprenticeship, which gave me all those problem-solving skills and being able to use your hands, which was fantastic. But my real passion was always going to be sport, and I played semi-professional Aussie rules, which I guess once again, little did I know was going to be my degree in understanding how to recondition the body. Playing at an elite level got me to a stage where I endured a lot of injuries. And those injuries really did teach me a lot about, one, how we as humans looked at the body scientifically and how we structured conditioning and strength programs. Two, how we reconditioned the body, which was something completely opposite to how we trained, conditioned and reconditioned horses. And three, what environment that we created when we did that. If we had an environment for our animals that was an unhappy environment, a boring environment, an environment that just dulled the body and brain, they would go off their heads. They wouldn't perform well. We were doing that for our sports people. So once I finished my career in Aussie rules, I then went into a diploma in personal training, and in 97 and in 99 I bought a business in Noosa Heads, a company called Fitness Personally, or a business called Fitness Personally, of a guy called Richard Boyd. And Richard owned PT on the net, or was starting, PT on the net at that stage. So for me, I had no degree. I was purely a person who learnt my hands-on skills through animals. I'd learnt about the pain, the emotional suffering, the rehabilitation side of things through self-experience, through having access to some of the best health professionals in Australia. The natural transition into the health and fitness industry to me was a natural one. I guess coming into it in 99 when I bought Richard's business, the way we conditioned our bodies was, as I said before, almost archaic. We were forcing muscles to do the same thing over and over and over, and which just didn't make sense because it didn't really replicate what we did in our sport. Anyway, in about 2002, Richard could see that I was doing very different stuff to most personal trainers in Australia, which he was getting around to because of his business now. And he, in fact, moved to the States in 2000, and his website really started to grow and evolve, and he was starting to get some of the world's leaders to write articles, and they were having conferences. And in 2002, they had the first major conference in Las Vegas where I got to meet a physical therapist over there who looked at the body completely different. And when I met him and spent some time with him, that really only enhanced where I was going was in the right direction, where I thought I could truly make a difference in the industry. So from then to now, I've met the likes of, Gary Gray, Gray Cook, Paul Check, and not only met them, but worked with them and learned from them. And Chuck Wolf and all these guys have become some very good friends of mine. And of course, along the way, I met a man called Thomas Myers in 2008. And Thomas really inspired me, but he also changed my life. And he changed my life because of the fact that I was at a meeting of the minds. It was a thing that PT on the Net put on it. And it was basically there's 23 people, 23 of the best in the world, and they had to present on their philosophy. They had 20 minutes, and Richard had made a criterion that no one was allowed to bring their ego. And I mean, we were talking Charles Poliquin, Paul Check, Gray Cook, Tom Purvis, Scott Hobson, Michelle Delcourt. We were talking some of the best in the world on this stage. And of course, I was very fortunate that I got a gig. And of course, I was on after Paul Check. So you could well imagine Paul Check, one of the most learned people in the world, and after him comes this country bloke from Victoria. Got to try and sound intelligent for 20 minutes. So I'm always a person who, I suppose, actions are louder than words. So what I did was I took 5 2-minute segments out of how I conditioned and how I trained in my studio. And long story short, at the end of it, there was a few people in tears, and Tom walked up to me after and he said, "This is the gym of the future. And if you ever want anything, please contact me." Well, we've stayed in contact since, and as you well know, Jeff, he's just an amazing person, and not just because of what he does, but because of what he is.
Mm-hmm.
So from that time to now, what it's enabled me to do is because fascia just makes his understanding and the way we map the body now makes just perfect common sense to me, because of that's how we look at it from an animal perspective, from horses. That enabled me then to start to condition, to move, and to transmit forces through the body through movement, which now has just fast forwarded the process of being able to help people, not only move and feel better, but to actually regain responsibility for their own well-being. So I guess, from where I started to where I am now in Noosa Heads, still in this same, 90 square metre space, which is basically just an open room. Has a power plate, a cable crossover, Vipers, balloons. It has, dumbbells, sand bells. Most of my stuff's about play, movement.
Mm-hmm.
The